In this quick video, we're going to look at a couple of questions that you might see with regards to probability on a test or assignment. So we're going to look at determining the probability of an event and expressing it as a fraction, decimal, and percent, and in words. So what is the probability of rolling 7 with 2 dice? We have 2 dice here. Is it 0, less than other totals, the same as other totals, or greater than other totals? It seems a pretty broad question, so we're going to look at it in a little more detail. In order to determine the probability of rolling a 7 with 2 dice, it would be a good idea to know how many different ways can we roll 2 dice in total. So I've come up with this table right here that tells me if I have 2 dice, the first die is on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are the possible rolls in the first die. The second die is on the top. Possibilities are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll notice that I'm adding them together in my table. So if I roll a 1 and a 1, I get a 2. If I roll a 1 and a 2, I'm going to get a 3. A 1 and a 3, I get a 4, and so on and so forth. So you'll notice that in this table, there are 36 different possibilities. Because we have 2 dice, with 6 possibilities on each dice. So to multiply them together, we end up with 36 total possibilities. There is one way to roll a 2, 2 ways to roll a 3, 3 ways to roll a 4. And you'll see that the pattern that is occurring here is the number of possibilities seem to line up on a diagonal. So there are 3 ways to roll a 4. There are 4 ways to roll a 5. There are 5 ways to roll a 6, and so on and so forth. So there's 6 ways to roll a 7. Then we're back to 5 ways to roll an 8, 4 ways to roll a 9, 3 ways to roll a 10, 2 ways to roll 11, and just 1 way to roll a 12. That would be 2 6s. So we're looking at the probability of rolling a total of 7. Well, due to the fact that 7 has 6 possibilities, that's 6 out of 36 would be our total probability. So like I said, there are 6 different ways to roll a 7. That gives us a 1 out of 6 chance. 6 out of 36 or 1 out of 6. But visually, we can see here that there are clearly more ways to roll a 7 than there are to roll any other individual number on the 2 dice. So the probability of rolling a 7 with 2 dice would have to be greater than the other totals. Individual totals, that is. Now, if I was to ask what's the probability of rolling a 7 compared to all the other possibilities, then that would be less than. But we're looking at for each individual number. So with 7, there are 6 ways out of the 36 possibilities, whereas with any other number, there are less than 6 ways to roll 2 dice. Okay, another question here. A lake is stocked with 150 fish for a fishing derby. 10 fish are tagged third prize, 5 are tagged second prize, and 1 fish is tagged as the grand prize. Dylan catches the first fish. What is the probability that Dylan's fish is the grand prize fish? Well, if Dylan is catching the first fish, that means there are 150 fish in the water at that moment. Okay, so there are 150 fish available to him to fish. He only catches 1. So the probability that he catches the grand prize fish is the number of grand prize fish that are available, which is 1, divided by the total number of fish that are available, which is 150. Okay, and if we were to calculate that as a decimal number, that's as a fraction, 1 divided by 150. 1 out of 150. So if we were to divide that on our calculator, we're going to get the number as a decimal, 0.006 repeating. That is as a decimal. So here we have fraction. Here we have decimal representation. And if we want to turn a decimal representation into a percentage, we take the decimal representation and multiply it by 100. Our units are percent. And that'll give us 0.6 repeating percent. So as a fraction, and as a decimal, and as percent, this is the probability of Dylan's fish being the grand prize fish. What is the probability that Dylan's catch is one of the second prize fish? Well, there are 5 second prize fish. So there are 5 second prize fish available. So his probability as a fraction would be 5 out of the 150 total available, which we can divide both our numerator and our denominator by 5, and that gives us a 1 out of 30 probability. Okay, so it's a 1 out of 30 probability that he gets a second prize fish. To find that as a decimal representation, we take 1 divided by 30 on our calculator, and we get 0.03 repeating. So that's the decimal representation. To find out the percentage representation, we take 0.03 repeating, and we multiply it by 100, and again it's in units percent. So that would give us 3 repeating. So let's say 3.3 repeating percent. So it's 1 out of 30, 0.03, or 3.3%. What is the probability that Dylan's catch is one of the third prize fish? Well, in the problem, once again, it says that there are 10 fish tagged as third prize. So there's 10 that are third prize. So his probability is going to be 10 out of 150, because there's still 150 possible. Okay, so 10 out of 150, which works out to 1 out of 15 if we divide both our numerator and our denominator by 10. 1 divided by 15, that works out to 0.06 repeating as a decimal. So we have it as a fraction, 1 out of 15, as a decimal, 0.06 repeating, and as a percentage, 0.06 repeating times 100%. And that equals 6.6 repeating percent. So the probability as a percentage of Dylan catching a third prize fish is 6.6%. Lastly, we're asked, what is the probability that Dylan's catches any one of the tagged fish? Well, there was 1 grand prize. Okay, so 1 grand prize. 5 second prize. And left-hand third prize. Which gives us a total of 16 tagged fish. So, his probability of catching any of the tagged fish, there are 16 tagged fish available out of the 150 in the water. We can divide both 16 and 150 by 2, which gives us an 8 out of 75 chance, or an 8 out of 75 probability of getting a tagged fish. As a percentage, we take 8 and divide it by 75 on our calculator, and this works out to 0.106 repeating. The 6 is the only thing that repeats here. So it's 1, 0, then 6, followed by 6s. So it's a 0.106 repeating chance of getting a tagged fish. And as percentage, we take that number, 0.106 with the 6 repeating, times it by 100, and it's in unit percent, and that gives us a 10.66 repeating percent chance that Dylan will catch any one of the tagged fish that are available. So once again, to summarize probability. Probability is the number of successful outcomes compared to the total number of outcomes. And we can do this in words, as a fraction, a decimal, or a percent.